Hello everybody and welcome to the second instalment of the video Greenkeeper updates. We have had the wettest January on recorded history. On top of this we've had one of the coldest recorded average temperatures for January on history as well. Despite all this, the Greens team has got plenty done on the course. James Gaskell and James Crowley have both done really well with their college work and on their way to completing their level 3s. There is some bad news, unfortunately. We are losing our fourth greenkeeper, Nathan Kitchen. He is going on to do care work, so we will be advertising for a new fourth greenkeeper, hopefully somebody we can train up who will be a great member of the team. There's a few bits not included in the video, stuff that I didn't really think that was worth recording but worth mentioning, just the fact that we've had a bit of time just to sort out all of our areas, ancillary areas of the course, i.e. where we keep all our equipment and our dumping grounds, if you like. So that's taken a little bit of our time up. There was a couple of criticisms on the last video. The first one was the music, so we're going to drop that this time. The second one was too much Kelly, so there'll be a lot less of me and a lot more of the course. Hope you enjoy the video and hope to see you all very soon. I just wanted to show you the little thing I had to get in. I'm running. I had to hire this. So it's a little half-ton tracked barrow because it was so slippy. That's what we moved all the topsoil with, all on the left-hand side there. And we find ourselves on the 8th hole, where we are finally finished all the bunkering and the turfing. It has been a mammoth effort by the lads in absolutely awful conditions. Everything from snow. This last bit of turfing that we did looked like this before we brushed the snow off and turfed it, but we've finally managed to get all the turf down. There's still a few more jobs to do. We need to, when the temperatures rise, we need to get into the bunkers and spray off. We've laid turf inside the bunkers as we did on 17th, because that worked well on the 17th. So that we're letting that root, and then we'll spray it off, and it'll leave us with an organic membrane, if you like, to stop any stones and things coming through. All the drains are in. The edges need edging. The other bunker over there. And then obviously filling with sand. There's a bit of remedial work to do because the conditions were so poor. I mean, once pretty much the architect had left and we'd got the shape and we came up to topsoil and turfing, it just rained for a very long time and we were working in less than desirable conditions. But the team, being as good as they are, just cracked on and got it done. Really proud of them. We've had a few little bits and bobs that haven't quite gone right. We were trying to make sure we shaped it right so any water washed off and didn't go in the bunkers and came away, and we did such a good job that it's actually caused a bit of a rut there, but we will come back in. It all needs top dressing out. The back of the green, which is unfortunately under snow, where we've extended it with turf pieces from the chipping green, has taken really well, and yeah, it's all looking really good, so I can't wait to get back and play this at some point in the near future. Going on the turf nursery, the chipping green as well. We're going to re-root zone all that and seed that. And we've got some good seed that we can put down on there, and we can continue using that as a turf nursery. So that's the right hand bunker, which is slightly more in play, as we talked about. Looking really good. And then the two on the left. We've taken the opportunity to returf the poor area on the 7th tee. We'd had a bit of mould damage through there and the area was quite weak already. We had a little bit of spare turf left over from the 8th project, and just used that to our advantage. We've tidied up the path ends on 6 and a little bit harder to see under the snow, but the walk off from 4th to the 5th. We've trimmed down the left hand side of 8, The boys have done a tidy little job of the path on 4. And while we're here, we'll talk about one other little project we need to undertake is the overgrown hawthorn that's just growing up over there. It's just starting to encroach on the tee shot. When the tees are put far on the left, if you're a left to right mover of the ball, it's just starting to get in your way. So we're going to face it up, take bits off gradually till we're happy with it, that it's not getting in the way of the hole. Back of 10, where we took the hedge out, we put some seed down. We trialled some a seed from a company called Hurrell's, which they claimed would germinate at temperatures of only 5 degrees, which it has. It's been really good. It's all come through quite well. It still needs to thicken out a little bit, but a really good little tool to have is this seed, because we can be using it for areas of diving tees in the winter, or repairing other areas, saving costs on turf and things like that, because we know we can get the seed out. Now stood on the 11th, and I thought it was take the opportunity to talk about drainage, as this is obviously one of the holes that has been keeping us from playing all 18 this winter, which has been particularly wet. Our rainfall records show that it's been the wettest January in a long time, as many places have experienced. And then we're also talking about the 10th, possibly the 9th, and certainly the 13th and 18th. We've had somebody come into a drainage consultancy firm to map the drainage we've already got in. We're having a proper soil analysis done, so we know what we're dealing with. And then from there we can make a proper plan of what we need to do to keep this course open during the winter months. We've had a couple of drainage firms in as well, just to start giving us quotes and ideas of what we'll need to spend if we go ahead with drains. But it's all really positive and it's moving forward really well. Obviously at the minute it's very firm. We haven't had rain in a few days, and it's underfoot. It's okay. The frost is there, but I think it's obvious when you're on it that it's not completely boggy. But yeah, all good, all really positive. One of the areas that we plan on making use of the AstroTurf that's in the car park that we procured from the football pitch at Harrogate Town for a very reasonable sum of money, is the side of some of the tees. We've had a little test on it, and it's not really very suitable to play golf shots off, so using it for mats and such things like that was probably a no-no. But it's very hard wearing, and it would be good for areas like this. So side of 12, where it gets particularly wet, we will turf cut off, take down another couple of inches of the soil, lay some hardcore in, a bit of sharp sand on top, and then move the rolls of turf up here, which are extremely heavy, and probably will take a good effort from the team to do so, with a fair bit of mechanical equipment, I would have thought too. On the 12th hole, we've been working behind the green on the dogwoods, reducing them down. This helps them with regeneration later in the spring, and encourages them to bring through that more vibrant reds and yellows that they look so lovely when they're in that colour. Another little area we've managed to finish off is just the pond on 17, where we removed the willows 1 year ago. We've got the stump grinder in there, as we have on all the other stumps where the trees are removed on the rest of the course. In other areas they've been soiled over, and will be seeded when the ground temperatures rise enough. And then the rocks have been all put back, so we've got a nice area here and then re-turfed, and that's looking really smart now. On the 18th tee, we've just removed one tree over here that was just starting to get a bit too big for the area, and it was meaning that we weren't able to use the full width of the tee, and it was starting to impede people who like to send the ball out from right to left. So that's come out, and it's made a huge impact on the hole. So I'm just on the poplar plantation on the right hand side of 13. We're just stood looking back towards the tee from here, where we've taken out 4 of the poplars with guidance from a tree consultant and with William Swan. We wanted to make sure that we didn't impact how the hole played, so we didn't want to make it easier, so we carefully selected the 4 trees that were to come out. There's one at the end, there's one over here, and then there's 2 further down. The reason we've wanted to do this was the turf down here is very weak, and a lot of the reason for this is because the trees take up a lot of the moisture and nutrients. The other reason is that the remaining trees will start to flourish even further than they already are. They're good strong trees, but they will continue to grow into a fuller, more mature tree. And the other reason is that in the autumn that this is one of the problem fairways for obviously you guys losing your balls in between all the leaves, and it takes up a lot of our time clearing the leaves on here. So just to lose a few of those trees will help things tremendously. This week we've taken advantage of the frosty conditions when the ground's been nice and hard, and we've been out on the tractor and slitter on the poorer draining fairways that we were unable to get on earlier in the year, and slit them. It's quite hard to see because the ground's still frozen, but there are slit marks all the way down there. That will help with percolation of water from the surface into the subsoil. It will improve oxygenating the soil and will improve roots. Later on in the year it gives the grass plant pockets to root into. Another little project we've undertaken is the mending of the course information sign. It had started to bend over where we put it in, and on closer inspection we noticed that the legs were starting to rot. So what we've done is we've chopped it off where it was rotting. We found some steels. We shaved off all the sides of the legs back to good wood, and then we slotted those on, painted them up. We're giving that a little paint up as well. It needs a second coat. Cleaned up the information boards, and that will go back up, get concreted in the near future. Other things we've been undertaking in the shed, all the machines have been maintained to their normal yearly programmes, so sharpening of the blades, all the oils have been checked and changed, everything's ready to go when the season kicks off. It's a fairly large job, but something behind the scenes that you don't see but is quite a big part of our work. Another job on the list is the bunkers. We're going to go back around as we did about 3 years ago and edge them all off, just taking about an inch off each one where the sand splashes come or the soil started to invade. That'll neaten them up, make them look really sharp, quicken up our strimming process, our maintenance process. We'll go around each bunker and replenish any that needs so with some fresh sand. I'm just walking through from 11, that's 15th tee. I'll just show you where we've been through all the tree belts now, just taking down all the hardwoods, opening up the views around there, stopping any large trees from growing through, making sure that our plantations remain just as they are and don't start to grow. And we've done that all around the course. One thing we didn't manage to get completely done was to cut down all the long rough. But as soon as the conditions get better, we will get back onto that, so we can start to thin that out and scarify it all. I'm just walking over to the 14th pond where we've been around, and we've scrimmed down there, taken out all the hardwoods again and just tidied up that generally. It's looking smart. And this is on the future plan. We're gonna, when the temperatures get up a little bit, because I don't really want to start breaking ice to pull the bulrushes out, but that's what we're going to do on first. Just so it defines the water hazard a bit better. The other benefit it will have is that any drains that run into this pond, obviously this is our main outlet over here, the stone culvert over there, and the bulrushes slow down the water being able to get out there, so it will improve the water levels on there and therefore the drainage. But it'll be a good opportunity as well just to talk about how we plan this year on growing some more long rough up. Very much in the mind that we are not trying to grow up areas that you would consider in play. We don't want to affect golf. We do want to reduce mowing and encourage wildlife on the course. So we've got a fair few areas in mind, and we're hoping to cut down the cutting of the rough by quite a lot, which is it's a big job. It takes us just under 2 days to cut all the rough, so anything we can do to reduce there, we can therefore be spending more time elsewhere on the course titivating other areas. So just an example of it here would be that we'd like to grow up from down the side of the path on 14 up to this edge of the ditch here, and then up in between the two tees. It's only a small area, but it still takes time to cut, it still takes man hours, it still takes diesel, it still puts wear on the machines. It would define the two holes here quite nicely, I think, as well. Of course, it will be something that after we do it, if we think it's starting to look messy, we will reconsider it, and if it's starting to affect play, we'll reconsider it. But the whole point, the whole plan is to try and start to diversify subspecies, different animals that come around, create wildlife corridors, and of course reduce our time and costs.